what you do because you love to do what you do. Don't do what you do because you want to build a legacy. We don't make music because we want to build, certainly not if you want to be around in years to come. If you see yourself as a brand, then there are certain things and certain expectations that come with that expectation, with that terrain from those other people that want you to react to how you want to see yourself as a brand. I'll say it again. What is your vision for yourself? What is the vision of your life? The Rands or the Randellas don't come in all the time. It takes a while, but you sort of get to that place where you say, okay, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I want to do as a singer, and accepting ukuthi mawucula. You know, when people always talk of a calling, and it sounds like a cliche, right? Abo nurse have a calling, abo social worker have a calling. Musicians abangoma kahle kahle. Musicians abangoma. So, but not all of us understand that. Not all of us accept that, because we were raised in the society that we're raised in. I won't go into the religious part of it, but we get challenged. Ukuthi senza izinto, we're devil worshippers. When you talk of veneration of your ancestors, for instance, people say you're worshipping abaphansi. How can you worship omunye umuntu? You don't worship idlozi, uyalihlonipha. And it's something that takes a while to get to. But when you know that, then a lot of things around you make a lot of sense. And that is what has helped me hang around for 30 plus years, both as a performer, as an administrator, as a teacher, all in music. So don't ask me what else would I do if I wasn't singing. I would be teaching, I would be administering, I would be a researcher, which is something I've done already.
For me, it's very important to be real with yourself, one. And just what Mama just said, I have a very good core, very strong support system. So that's one of the things that helped me. But in terms of succumbing to pressure, it definitely is there, and it's something that I actively work against. So it's very important to understand your surroundings, the industry, the people that hang around you, and also understand yourself in that ecosystem. So for me, it's a thing that I even stress about. Money, I stress about what happens 5 years from now. And those are the things questions that you need to, when you are alone by yourself, you need to be like, okay, what happens when this all goes away like this? Because it does. That's what happens. But you need to prepare for it. And the vision is very important, having a vision in front of you and know where you're going. So in terms of, I don't drive a Mac. I drive and I don't want to say the car because but I drive an I-20. And I want to mention this because I recently went home and there's so many expectations from people. And that is one of the reasons why we're here, because people need to understand it's real life. Whether you in the limelight or not, it remains real life. Financial problems are part of real life. So if you think you are here, it doesn't work, because you still have to deal with the tax man, you still have to deal with rent, you still have to deal with a whole petrol. So those are things that you need to be very conscious about. And there's so many expectations. Amanda, I thought you'd be driving a Mercedes. I'm like, I don't. And I even tell them, because but you have to be within yourself. You need to know yourself for you to be able to be strong enough to face those. So, yeah.
My observation is that because there's a lot of social media at the moment, there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's WhatsApp, there's Instagram. People see you on Instagram with nice-looking food in gorgeous-looking accommodations, and they expect that's your life. But in fact, it isn't. Life is real. You know, it's not an Insta life at all. And as a younger musician, I'm wondering, how do you deal? Can I ask this question, please? Because it's one of the things that often fascinates me. I mean, how do you cope with the pressure of Twitter? I've heard people talk of black Twitter, and I'm like, how do you, like, huh? Yeah. How do you cope with it, though? I mean, I'm fussy. I've always wanted to ask this question.
It's very tricky. For me personally, I make a point to log off every now and then, because you can't help what people say about you. One, you really can't control. I mean, for instance, one, I keep parts of my life very private. I keep parts of my life very private because, and it was a conscious decision because once people know too much about you, they have a lot to say on whatever you give them. So I try to keep as much things very precious and close to me, very private. But it's very, very tricky, Mama. It affects. It's very toxic in terms of when you see a lot of negative things. People like to say words are just words, but we are human beings. And even if you say, yeah, I don't care, deep down in there, it hits some type of way. And as a human being, I think my advice is to please every now and then just log off, because you can't control what people say about you, but you can control how you react to those things. And yeah, that's how I deal. But it's really rough.
You get a contract, for an example, and there are big words. My mother often used to talk of big words like because. So there'll probably be big words like because on the contract. Give it to a lawyer or somebody else who understands the language to read it up for you and explain it to you, because we will never know everything. I get contracts namanje. If they get a bit fuzzy, I have to give it to somebody else and say, please read this for me. Keep yourself abreast of developments in the industry, whether uyafunda uyesikolweni or uyafunda uyazifundisa wena, because that's the other thing. Imfundo is not about the classroom. At any rate, the classroom at the moment is full of very strange information and education. It's not a chance that young people say we must decolonize. It's not a chance, not a mistake. We need to be alert. We need to keep ourselves highly informed all of the time. And yes, I accept, which is not everybody who's interested in being an academic, for instance, or an intellectual. I understand that. But have an interest in your craft. Whether you want to be in publishing, whether you want to be a financial advisor or financially savvy, or whatever the case might be, keep yourself informed. Keep yourself informed. Keep away from, big word, toxic spaces. No, but seriously, because it's very easy to get sidetracked. It's very, very easy to get sidetracked in this business. If you know, okay, you're in this business for 5 years, then you'll become a brand and you'll become a this, and you are always reacting to what is expected of you. That's fine, because you understand, you have 5 years in the industry. But if you want to be around for years, or you want to be around for as long as you can be around, then I think you need to keep pliable. Don't be a baobab tree, a stiff, be like a willow tree. Willows flow in the wind most, right? They flow in the wind, they move around,
It's very important for me. And look, you have to respect yourself. You have to respect your craft. And it is very important if you love what you do, therefore you protect it. Yeah. You will definitely protect it with all that you have. And that means equipping yourself with knowledge. They've built this beautiful, beautiful place where you can actually acquire knowledge. There's not much of it, especially on the music industry in South Africa, on the internet, but be very vigorous in wanting to understand the space that you want to be in. Even if you don't want to be a musician, whatever you want to, obviously you go to traditional school, but whatever you're passionate about, whatever you really want to put your entire soul into, you need to definitely understand and learn the ins and outs of it. Not all of us understand the business. Even me, I don't understand it fully, but I definitely do understand things when they come to me. I make sure, like contracts. I'm not a legal person, but I definitely, even if I can't afford a lawyer, exhaust all your avenues, exhaust them all. You ask him, and we are understanding that. Can you read this for me? Try and get as many input as you can into understanding the craft or the industry that you want to be in. Because unfortunately, artists get taken advantage of because we don't know. So therefore, this is why we're here now, so that you can get that thought, oh, I do need to know. Don't be in the dark. You need to know each and everything that happens in your career. Even if you are a budding musician, a budding instrumentalist, you need to know what you need to understand about your place where you are right now.
What was I looking forward to the most? To just make beautiful music and make people happy, joyful. Thank goodness. It was okay. It was a good thing because I was told I had the talent, so I could risk it, right? But I think what became even more critical as I went on was that sense of concentrate, focus, commit yourself to a goal or goals, small bite-sized goals that you can achieve as you go along. And that's what happened. And the last thing that became also very critical was when my father said, make a habit of success. And that's been like, Daddy, are you sure? And he said yes, and it sort of became one of the things that I lived with.
For me, all I ever saw was the stage. I had no idea about the recording. Because I got CD, yes, but all I ever dreamed of was being on stage and moving things. When I was younger, around I think varsity, I remember I had this vision that I was in a field and I started singing and the flowers bloomed. Oh, wow. Those were one of the very, very most significant revelations for me, because I always dreamt of it as a little child. But as I grew older, I was like, I can sing, but come on, am I really, I can do other things, type of thing. But that's one of the definitive moments for me when I was like, this is what I need to do, this is what I'm meant to do. So all that I was hopeful for was literally just getting a chance to be in that field and minister to people and have them healed by what I was singing. Yeah.
How did it? I think it was a difficult environment because it was in those days of those guys, you know. So it was difficult to try and make a living in the arts because legislatively we were called vagrants. In the law, in the statute books of this country, we're described as vagrants. So not much was expected of us, I guess, from a legal point of view. However, what also made it easier, which was not easy, is that we knew what we were supposed to sing about, right? There were issues, political issues that we had to grapple with. I love you, I really, really love you, or whatever the song was. It was done, but not as a love song. A song like Laguchonilanga, for instance. If you listen to the message, it's a political song. It's a love song. It talks about love. I will miss you. I need to find you. But it's a political song because your husband, your partner, might not arrive back home. So you have to go out there and look for him or her, right? So there was that. It was a very tricky time. Manje, I'm not so sure that things are that simple about what to sing about. Even for us as older musicians, you know, you still, if you want to remain relevant, you need to know what you're singing about, but sing about stuff that makes sense to people. You guys talk about being a conscious artist, a conscious musician. Akomali lab, right? Akomali. So you have to find innovative. I want to go and watch the rugby too. You have to find innovative ways, I guess, of keeping yourself relevant. But that relevance can be very tricky.
I did it myself. I had a point. I knew what I wanted to do, I remember I started entering competitions like early high school. I started doing like singing talent shows, whatever. That was just how I was inclined, because I knew that I wanted this and that's what I was gonna do. So luckily enough, I had the support of my family. So I would be like, dear Amp, there's a talent show. Dear Amp, there's a. I never won though. I never won. I probably only won one of those competitions, but it was very disappointing. But that's what I did. I was very proactive in. And I was still young, but I knew I wanted to get on stage, like I said. So that's all that I worked towards. And then after high school, this is when I actually I got my guitar when I was 16. My mom saw that I wasn't gonna let this go. So she decided, okay, fine. She gave me a guitar. And from then on, I started learning guitar. Now I have something to accompany me. And then after that, I go into varsity, and that's all I ever did. I just sang, made sure everybody knew I could sing. Hey, what's happening? That's literally, and you have to be bold about it. You can't wait. The problem now, what's happening is because people talk about managers, but you're right. At that stage, one, you can't afford a manager. You're still starting out. You can't really approach a label because you have nothing to offer really. You're like, okay, I can sing, but what else can you offer? So you do it yourself. You look at your space. You look at your space and master that space. And that's what I did. I was known as the girl who sings at varsity because I was everywhere. Like, oh, Mandulapa as well. Hey, boy, because I was so driven because I wanted what I wanted and I believed in myself. And that's one of the biggest challenges, is to believe in yourself when the entire world is telling you can't do it. So you have to be very brave and deliberate. Yeah, and I started singing. I entered Idols. You guys know that? I entered Idols. I got so many no's, but I was like, I can do this. I went so many places until I got to that point, luckily. But at that point when the management and the label got me, I had been working my life out. I had been practicing, preparing for whatever thing that I don't even know when it's going to happen, but that's what I was doing. And that's what I always try to preach or let you guys know. You need to prepare. Your chance or your lucky break, it's not a lucky break. It is absolutely not a lucky break. No one just gets lucky. Hey, I choose you. Is so recorded. No, that doesn't happen. You need to be deliberate and working towards your dream and be like,
In addition to what Amanda is saying, which is very, very critical, is the understanding as a performer or as an artist, as a musician, a solo musician, you are the center, you are at the core of what this industry is really all about. So without your talent, without what you're giving, there's no backing band, there's no publicist, there's no manager, there's no SABC, there's no ETV, there's no record company, there's no manager of artists. We are the core of the ecosystem. We are at the center of the value chain. So we need to, I think that they as artists, we understand that and appreciate it. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about just understanding and holding yourself up in that light and seeing yourself the way she saw herself. Put yourself out there. Bangatu ya papa, bangatu tini. That's what bazosho vele. Noma ngabe wenzani, noma uthengisa amatamati and you're brave about it. You need to make a habit of that success. You need to make a habit of going out there and reaching out to it, because you are at the core of that ecosystem. You are at the core of that ecosystem, and that is so, so important.
The biggest lesson that I learned was that it's the same thing that Rumama was saying. It is your business. You are the business. You are the talent. You are the passion. Basically, it must start with you, because no one is going to invest in you if you don't invest in yourself. And that doesn't mean money, necessarily. It really doesn't mean money. It means you believing. It means you doing the groundwork. Listen, even now, I do have management now. I do have a label now that is, but it's me. I must be the one. I must think for my career. I must dream for myself. I must be the one that pushes and then luckily have other people pressing the buttons. You understand what I'm saying? But I must be the one. It must start with you. No one is gonna understand where you wanna go except you. Do you understand? That's one of the biggest lessons that I learned. We can complain all we want. Yes, exploitation happens too much in the industry, but I think artists need to stop being complacent and comfortable. You need to always put yourself in a position where you are not comfortable. That also goes with songwriting. If you're comfortable, you will continue and you won't learn, you won't grow. If you put yourself in positions where you're like, okay, I'm challenging myself, this is where I need to go next, and you reach that goal, little bit of goals every step of the way you need to set for yourselves. And even financially as well, those are things that you also need to think of, because artists like to think things just fall from the tree. Things don't fall from the tree, guys. And that's the problem. That's the traps that we get ourselves into, because we expect other people to be the owners, the protectors of our own craft. And that can never be the world that we live in. You need to be the one that says, this is what I do, this is what I believe in, this is the music that I make, and I need people to support, not drive your career. You need people who believe in you, who will hold your hand like this. We are uti wena siapa, and they follow, not you follow them. Yeah.
Yes, I was fortunate, I was blessed, I was whatever you choose to call it, to sing music that is not trendy, right? I don't make trendy music. I don't know how to do that, right? So I take my time to create whatever music I need to create. I take my time to make the music that has a message that I think needs to be heard. So, am I going to produce more? There's an album sitting waiting somewhere. It's coming. There's an album sitting somewhere, but it's not a trendy album. It's telling a very important story of my life, me as Sibongile this time, not because it's nice music, right? And yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just how it is. I ginenhlanhla in that way, but maybe it's not inhlanhla necessarily, but inhlanhla ekutheni I shaped my career in that way, you know. And I was lucky because I could sing opera, because I could sing, dabbling now with jazz a bit more, and dabbling also with more traditional sounds, traditional music. I was able to keep myself interested in the music nje as a whole. So mangibhorekile ukwenza i-jazz, then I sing umculo ka Princess Makoko, which is South African classical music. And I've been fortunate, I've been blessed, sounds like a cliche, but yes, I've been blessed to have people who listen to this stuff and appreciate it, because it's very easy. Music is cyclical. So some things will work, trends, some things will work at a given time, and other times they may not work. How do you keep yourself interested in the music? How do you keep yourself interested? And that's what you need to work out as a performer, as an artist. It took me years to realize that I could actually write some music. She spoke of depend on yourself. I always had people who created this music for me. They created music that made sense, that I related to, and so on and so forth. And eventually I got to understand, you can actually do this thing. So it has something to do with your confidence as well, right? So once I had gotten past my hesitation and my fears, and a lot of the time that those messages, because I consider them to be messages, those messages come at 3 o'clock in the morning. Those messages come, and yeah, that's why bathi siyathakatha, because that's when you're up, that's when you're relating, that's when you hear these things, and you get into the shower and you start singing in the shower, or you go and you're supposed to take care of yourself, you go to go and do a facial, and as you're lying there and somebody's doing something to your face, like, hold on, you jump off the bed, you grab your phone and you sing into the phone, literally. And then afterwards, then you sit and you say, okay, what was that? So how do I develop this? And a lot of writers will tell you the same thing. For an example, writers will tell you, the idea comes whenever, you don't know what it is, and you put it down, you write regularly, you put it down, you develop it afterwards. But it's one of those things that happen like that, yeah. I wish I wasn't a musician because ngempela ngathi siyahlanya. And it's a lonely life. It is a very, very, very lonely life. It's a very, Amanda talked about working, silencing the noise, you know. You get home at whatever time you're coming from a gig, your mind is buzzing from a gig. Say for argument's sake, you want to sleep, you are finished, you're tired, but ubuthongo abufiki. So you need to work with that inside of you. You work with it. You work with that energy. Ethi hlala ukhulume, ukhulume nabantu okhuluma nabo. Ngoba sonke nje masila sinabantu esihamba nabo. All of us. All of us. I know Guti, yeah, those of us who say we're devil worshippers will say you're talking rubbish. But the truth of the matter is that sinabantu esihamba nabo. So you need to listen to what they say. There's nothing like a random thought in this business. There's nothing like a random thought. There's nothing like a coincidence. Is a coincidence yini ngesizulu? Yini coincidence ngesizulu? What is random ngesizulu?
Random.
A thought umcabango. Random yini ngesizulu. So there's no random thought, there's no coincidence. Whatever you're hearing, engage with it. If you don't understand it, it's also okay. Don't understand it, it'll come again. But sorry, this is going to go on until 6, so I must stop.
I struggle a lot with this is the time you have, this is what you must write about, and which I think a lot of people can feel in my music. It comes, like I feel it. If I'm playing the guitar, I say whatever I'm feeling, I say whatever is coming to mind. Like she said, I truly do believe that some of these thoughts are not really like, I thought about it. Whatever is needed to be said, and that's why it's very important to listen to yourself. It's very important to know what kind of, I'm a storyteller. I understand, I'm a healer. I very much know why I'm here on this earth. And that is something that helps me a lot in channeling what it is that I want to portray or what it is that I want to come out of my voice. Yeah. It depends how badly you want it. It truly is. It depends how badly you want it, and that's how much you're going to fight yourself. You're going to fight the fear. That's how you're going to fight the doubt. That's how, and trust you me, even today, I also still have those doubts. Those creep in because this is life. They creep in, and I'm sure Mama as well, they creep in. It's something you need to just fight. It's within you, and you fight it. Jana, you fight it. If you really want it, you will fight it and be like, fear, soga. Doubt, soga. You need to be deliberate about it. And I'm glad that, it came to you and you're like, okay, I'm going for it. Go for it. And it's something that I also wanted to say, it's just escaped my mind now. You can't wait. And it's something that you can't wait for anybody. So you need to go for it yourself. No one is going to give you that branch. And you'll be very, very lucky if you get somebody to give you that branch. Even someone in the industry. But no one owes you anything. Yes. Not one thing. So you have to be like, it's there. I want it. If somebody tries to stop you, fight it. But you need to get there. But no one's going to give it to you. Absolutely no one.
Okay. And I suppose all of what Amanda is saying really is fundamentally is a statement that says, feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and be like, if you're going to allow that fear to control you now, when you're supposed to go on to that stage and suddenly the nerves have gotten to you, and then you want to run from that stage. You don't run, you go in anyway. So you're feeling that fear, but you then find a way of working with the fear. You breathe, and you simply remember, Oguti, people don't come to your show. That is when you're now in the industry. People don't come to a performance or a concert to see you make a fool of yourself. People come to your concert because people believe you have something to offer them. They come, whether they see you as a healer or as an entertainer purely, or whatever the case might be. People spend their hard-earned cash because they know you, wena Letta, uzobanika le nto abayidingayo.
Yeah. Oh, and quickly, I know we're out of time. Also, it's okay if you fall. It is completely okay. We make mistakes every single day of our lives. Financially, I don't have it all together. Now I'm busy trying to make sure, okay, I put whatever money I get. Okay, I've got 2 gigs this month. I need to make sure rent is paid, but I must try and put some money behind so that if there's no gigs for the next 3 months, I'm going to be okay. So it's okay. Yeah, Sure, so you need to just be okay to make those mistakes, financial mistakes.
That's true.
The first time I went on stage, I ran off stage. I was so terrified of the crowd, I ran off stage. But I'm here today, I'm facing stage, even though I still get nervous, like crazy. But I fight it, I'm like, I'm getting on that stage. So you definitely need, guys, it's a very important point, and I hope you'll remember, because you will make many mistakes. Please, now it's something I preach to myself every day. Learn to forgive yourself. Yes. Not just in music, in life, and learn to forgive yourself. Yeah.